When football fans are asked to name outstanding players, they usually talk of goal scorers who bask in the glory when the ball hits the back of the net. They're often seen as the most important players on the pitch, securing the points and exciting the crowd.
There's Gascoigne! And here's a break on for Laudrup, showing tremendous pace, he's past the goalkeeper!
If you ask many Rangers fans to name a player as important as any striker, they wouldn't pick a top goal scorer. They would pick Rangers' greatest ever goalkeeper, Andy Goram.
Goalie challenges well. McStay's there for Celtic. That's good play by McStay. The chance is on for Collins. That's a magnificent save by Andy Goram.
Andy's Rangers career began in 1991 after new manager Walter Smith had taken Rangers to their third championship in a row on the last day of the season. However, Rangers had previously expressed interest in the Hibs keeper during an unusual meeting with the previous manager, Graham Souness.
I thought I was going to go the season before. Graham Souness pulled me at I think it was a dinner in Glasgow, and asked if I would like to play for Rangers. And we obviously had a few drinks. It was a question of sport in Glasgow, that's what it was. And I said, aye, everyone would, aye, of course I do. And that was it, he walked away. I went, well, come back then, ask me. And it was just a strange situation. And I used to watch Chris Woods, he'd have one save a game to make. I thought, I fancy a bit of that, that's the game. I used to come off the pitch absolutely knackered. Absolutely soaking, black, ranting and raving after a game because we get beat. And I was certainly jealous at the time. I fancy a bit of that one save a week, that'll do me.
But like many before him, Andy found that playing for Rangers was not to be as easy as he thought. His start at the club was not to be as happy as he expected.
I think even Andy had made a couple of errors in the first couple of games, one at Sparta Prague and one at Hearts, that obviously cast an element of doubt among supporters who had liked Chris Woods because he had been very consistent for us in a 5-year period. So, there was a little question mark placed over him. But I think Andy soon realised that at Rangers the spotlight's on him and that he had to be very careful. And what was important for me wasn't the errors, it was his reaction to it.
That was my first experience of the marble staircase with Walter. He gives it the usual, he doesn't come in and rant and rave. He walks in the dressing room and you get the nod. As soon as he walks in the dressing room, he looks at you and he goes, and then you know. And he just explained everything about the club, what he wanted, what he expected, what the fans probably expected, the chairman, everybody went right through the whole thing. And that was a big turning point in my career at Rangers. I then realised 100% exactly what it was all about. And to be fair, from there went from strength to strength.
Andy realised what the Old Firm games mean to the supporters. In August 1991, he played in his first Celtic clash. Those fixtures were to become the mainstay of his reputation at Ibrox.
You can't explain the build-up to it. I think the 2 games before the Old Firm game, there was a couple of situations where I could have come for a cross. Or I remember one, there was a ball come through the middle, it was a 50-50 thing, and normally it's big daft goalie's out and does his bit. And I hesitated for a second. Still end up going getting there and end up in a stramash with a boy. But at that 1 second I hesitated. I hesitated because I was thinking about the Old Firm game. I didn't want to get injured for the Old Firm game. All the boys said is he'll enjoy it and it's good, he'll pass you by in 2 seconds and fighting and everything. And you think, I can't be that bad. 1,000,000% right.
Taking the ball on the ground. There's Derek White, stepping away from Ferguson. Nicholas is brought down by Nisbet. It's a fine effort by Nicholas. Excellent goalkeeping by Andy Goram. He must have seen this very late indeed. And the Scotland goalkeeper getting across to his left very swiftly indeed as that was bending in at the corner. Coyne was well read by Goff. McCall. Here's Haythle's in the clear. It's a great chance for Rangers. Haythley against Bonner. Brilliant play from Haythley. Rangers take the lead. Head flick on there, the chance on now for Cascarino. Brilliantly saved by Gorham. Cascarino's head flick, Trenny's return on the volley. Cascarino hit that very well indeed. It was beautifully saved by Rowland. Well, it's played on well by Haythley for Johnston. Here's Haythley again, switching to his left foot. It's a second for Rangers. It's Mark Haythley once again. And Pat Bonner is utterly dejected.
Ironically, it was Pat Bonner who took Andy aside in the players' lounge after the match to give him some advice about the pressure of playing for the old firm.
Looking back at it all now, I wish I hadn't said too much to him, because I think from that he went on and started to play so well for Rangers. I just felt sorry for him. I wish I didn't say too much to him, because he went on and broke our hearts on many occasions. And I think at that time it was just a case of over a pint sitting down and saying, listen, you know, things will get better if you work hard at your game. And I was at the club with Celtic for a number of years before him, and I knew what it took to play at Old Firm level. And it's a special type of game. It's different than playing with maybe Hearts or Hibs or anything. The pressures are much different. And it was just a little bit of advice. As I say, I wish I hadn't said too much. But he went on to be a tremendous goalkeeper, both for Rangers and of course for Scotland.
There's Craney setting it up for Galloway. Queuing up in the middle for this. Here's Collins setting it up for Paul McStay. It's a great effort by McStay, and the save from Andy Gorham denies the Celtic captain.
He was under more scrutiny than he was when he was at Hibs or at Oldham. So therefore he had to be on top of his game in every match, and I think it was good for him. A lot of people might have crumbled under that, but I think he flourished, and I think that pressure put an extra edge on him and kept him at a terrific level. And I've got to say that after the initial 1 or 2 errors in the first month or so that he was at Rangers, you would have to look maybe 5 years down the line before you could finger him for another one. And I think that is probably the most remarkable, or one of the most remarkable pieces of consistency I've seen in any player at any time.
He was one of those guys, since when he came to the club, he got very easily led into the whole tradition and everything that went on in the background from Rangers Football Club, which is now going away a bit from the club. Whether it be a good thing or a bad thing, that's up to Andy's opinion. But Andy loved that side of it, and obviously the Celtic game was the biggest game of the season. He just revelled in it. He just seemed to love the whole atmosphere, and it made him stand out even more than normal, which is something special, because his normal standard was exceptionally high, as we said before.
Already in his first season, Andy was stamping his authority on the team by instilling confidence in the players in front of him. The whole squad knew they could rely on him in any situation.
When you knew Andy was behind you, then you knew you weren't safe hands. Every player that I played with, you just felt comfortable. He could handle the back pass, could take it on the deck and distribute it. But his reflexes were second to none. Would be the best goalkeeper I've seen in my lifetime.
It's great for a defence in front of to have a goalkeeper behind you that you can trust. I never had the opportunity to play with Andy at Ibrox, but I certainly did at Scotland, and I know that with that guy behind us, we could do our own job, and there was no need to worry or sit deep or defend an area where we felt that we couldn't trust the goalkeeper. Total trust in that guy.
Mark's pouring men forward again. It's Robertson in possession. The chance on for Derek Ferguson. Great save by Gorham.
By the end of the season, Andy had fully justified his £1 million signing fee from Hibs. Rangers had scored 101 league goals and lost only 5 times in 44 games. the party was about to start against St Mirren.
Remember, I think it was St Mirren at home. We won the league. I belted the ball up the middle of the park. Coyce ran onto it and scored. And again, Ibrox should win the league. Yeah, great feeling.
And the cross posing no problems there for Andy Gorham. McCoy's going through here, the ball holding up in the breeze, and McCoy is going to score!
Me and Coyce and Durant went to, I think we did 3 supporters clubs that night, and it was just mental chaos. My first experience, and it was just absolute pandemonium. Like, great experience, you know, it was great. And we came back to the house. It was just a feeling you never feel anything like it. I remember we were sat in the bottom corner of the garden, me and Coyce. It was about 2-3 in the morning, and we got a bottle of champagne each. And like 2 gnomes sat, and we just, you're the best player in the world. You're the best goalie in the world. We just went through all the daft things, you know. And that went on till 6-7 in the morning. Never forget, he was dancing with his Alsatian. We just all had a great time. And it was then we realised, do you want more of that? You had a wee smell of it. You wanted to really get stuck into it and have a right good go.
The next season was regarded by many as the best in the club's recent history. In season 92-93, Rangers won the treble and were unbeaten in 10 games in Europe. For Andy, it was the incredible bond within the squad which made the team so successful.
This is great play by McCall. Keithley lays it off, it's Ferguson! That is a brilliant goal by Rangers.
People say the relationship between the defence and the goalkeeper is obviously important. People said that you must have known exactly what they were going to do. Of course you knew what they were going to do. I think the secret then was I knew exactly what they wasn't going to do. They weren't going to get themselves out in a stupid situation to leave someone else exposed. You know, they weren't going to get dragged out and leave a hole. John Brown added that wee bit extra. You put your house on and make an attack when it's needed. 2 different players. Coffey is obviously very quick, clever upstairs, and not saying that Bomber's stupid. Maybe. Only because he's down that end of the camera, he can't get me. And Bomber just gave me mid tackles. It was unbelievable. He was a great influence in the dressing room. You know, a real winner, Terry Butcher type boy, I would imagine. And it just all clicked. And it was a season certainly where we weren't going to be getting beat by anybody.
There were many matches during that remarkable season when Rangers had their 44-game unbeaten run which stand out in the supporters' memories. The Celtic games are the obvious choice. However, for Andy, a game against Aberdeen brought out the passion which ran through every player at the club.
That's an excellent save by Andy Gorham from Ian Jess. Kane looking for the head of Patalainen. Persons claiming he was pushed. Referee allowing play to go on. Patalainen getting in the cross. Headed away by Goff, only as far as Aitken. And Roy Aitken scores a sensational goal for Aberdeen.
We were 1-0 down at half time. Roy Aitken hit a volley from 20 yards. And I thought Spackers should have been closer to him. And I said that to him on the pitch. And he's turned around and give me a gesture, which it's an unwritten law at Ibrox. You don't do that in front of 50,000. And he repeated it. Blood's boiling a wee bit. We're getting beat 1-0. Roy Aitken scores, Celtic boy. So you're not at the best of frame of mind anyway, you know. And we came in half time. And I said, just bust, you flip sometimes. We've all done it. I said, you ever say that again, I'll kill you. And he said something else. And we ended up going, we had a bit of a stramash. We had a bit of a fight with him. And we came out and won 3-1. So probably that was the answer.
Now the fans getting more behind them. John Brown still well forward. Chest it down to Durant. Mikhailichenko. Durant. Oh, wonderful goal by Ian Durant. Gary Smith's free kick aimed at the head of Patalainen. Headed away though by McPherson. Now it's Durant. Good ball through to Ali McCoist, who's onside. McCoist. 2-1 to Rangers. Mikhailichenko.
It's only natural because you care about the club. You care about what you're doing. I think when boys go through the lives in training and games and don't have a fight with anybody, and they probably don't care probably as much as they should do, because you're going to have feelings about what people say and what people do on the pitch.
The challenge for Celtic that year was as desperate as ever, but the strength and determination of the Rangers team would prove too much for the Parkhead side. Again, Andy's contribution to those matches was outstanding.
Terrific shot. It's a shot one to McStay. Marvellous save by Andy Gorham from Darius Dovchak. Andy Gorham taking every advantage, finds Hitley. In comes Dale Gordon. Ali McCoy's there. Here's Ian Durant. Ian Durant scores for Rangers. That's Collins stepping in for Celtic. This is Slater. Good play by Slater. Can he get his first goal for Celtic? Play deserves. Hitley nipped in there just ahead of Mowbray. This is Boyd. And Andy Gorham. A terrific save again. Well, Stuart Slater just cannot believe it. Tom Boyd got in the cross. What a terrific effort that was from Slater. He might easily have had a hat-trick in this second half. Dovchak's corner, punched away by Gorham. Returned by Collins. Breaks out now to Peter Grant. Rangers under siege. This is Paul McStay. The chance on now for Gillespie. And again, Andy Gorham defies Celtic.
92-93, that season was just ridiculous. We'd be 2-0 down, we knew we were going to win 3-4-2. I remember turning around to Goffey one day, we won 4-2. Coming off the pitch, you just turn around and you say, we can do what we want. We could give a team 2 goals start, we know we're going to win.
That attitude was crucial when Rangers met English champions Leeds United in the Champions League qualifier at Ibrox. But the start was not what the Ibrox fans wanted.
And a brilliant start for Leeds, Gary McAllister. Silencing the Ibrox crowd in the most effective way.
Collins came over, he's getting knocked out McCarthy, he's volleyed it in the top corner. It's a strange one to say, but it was deafening silence. As though people say, well, they can't do that. We need to start again, that's not in the script. We need to start again, no. And we were just looking at each other, what's happened there? And it was just a shock, total shock.
It's up to Lukic. Oh, and he's fisted it into his own net!
The crowd certainly played a massive part that night. It was a fantastic atmosphere. No Leeds fans there. And it was just all night singing, getting behind us, and typical derby type game, you know, blood and thunder all night, and we managed to get the goals back.
And McCoist! Rangers get the lead.
All the English wrote us off after that. They said, oh, just a case of 3 and 4 when they come down. All the boys were up for the second game. We couldn't wait for that. And the boys wanted to play, and then they just let us get them. And we totally focused and really confident. I think we were the only confident ones. There was a lot going into it.
Goal for Rangers by Mark Hateley.
We always used to talk about the BFG, boot flick goal. It's normally me kicking out, Big Mark gets a touch and Coisy scores. I booted it out and Ian Durant wins a header. Must have come off his ear, I think. So Durant gets a flick to it and Big Mark wallops it, and that's us back in the game.
The victory that night by 2-1 was a vindication of Rangers' tactics and spirit. Despite immense pressure from a side fielding many internationalists, Andy stood firm.
Now Strachan, played in for Cantona, a nice turn by him, and Cantona's finish is stopped superbly by Gorham.
All night we got a bit of a pound, and Bomber and Goffey were absolutely fantastic that night. Defensively, as a unit, we were great. But Bomber and Goffey were outstanding that night. Alton had saves. And it was just one of the nights again, you knew it was all going to go right for you.
Here's Cantona, here's a chance. Brilliantly stopped again, hit with awesome power there by Cantona.
For Alan Hodgkinson and his goalkeeping coach, the match was memorable for another reason.
And I always remember getting a phone call on the Sunday morning, and it was Howard Wilkinson, who was the then manager of the England under-23 side. And he said, Alan, he said, I need a goalkeeper. I said, well, what about the sub-goalie you've got there, the number 2, the boy Gorham at Oldham? He said, no, Alan, he said, I've just had a training session with him. He said, no, I said, and I don't fancy him. And there was nobody more delighted to be sat in the director's box at Leeds, and knowing Howard Wilkinson very, very well, going to Leeds and winning 2-1, and Andy Gorham playing outstanding. And I always remember Howard Wilkinson saying to me then, he said, I remember, Alan, when I didn't take him for England. He could have been an England goalkeeper.
It really was one of these special nights. We came off the bus and the gaffer got us all together. And we thought, no, he can't come round and say nobody's going out. And he says, team meeting. It's going to be one of the nights we're going to end up staying in a hotel. And he turned around and he says, the flight's at, say, 9 o'clock, I think it was. He said, anybody who doesn't get on the flight doesn't get the bonus. And I think we were getting something like 25 grand a man for that game. Anyone who doesn't get on the flight don't get the bonus. Go and do what you want. So, massive relief for the boys, and we're all out. Again, the boys together after winning. The old saying, you win as a team, lose as a team. And we certainly took it to the extremes. When we won as a team, we took it to the extremes. When we lost as a team, it was pretty depressing, but thankfully the latter didn't happen too much.
By then, Rangers had already won their first silverware when they again met Aberdeen in the Skull Cup final. 90 minutes were not enough to separate the two teams, who would later fight it out for the league championship.
So that's a good clearance by Stephen Wright. McCall plays it to McCoy, to Durant. Some lovely close play here by Rangers. What? Oh, it's McCall! Stuart McCall! What a blunder in the Aberdeen defence! So Rangers had a real test of character the other night. Now Aberdeen have won, but it's Ian Jess getting away from Richard Goff. Will he go on alone here? Oh, terrific stop by Andy Gorham. Mitchell Patalainen was on the far side. There's Patalainen again. Well, a terrific stop there by Andy Gorham. He's one of the best shot stoppers in the game. This is Ian Jess now, trying to take on Robertson. Still Jess, getting in the cross and well handled by Andy Gorham. He did well to get in that cross, Ian Jess. It's not easy to get away from David Robertson in that type of situation. Here's McCall now for Rangers, to Durant. Robertson's breaking in the left. He fires in the cross, Hateley's in there, and the ball's in the back of the net!
4 months later, the two teams would meet again in the league at Pittodrie. It was vital for Rangers to win, as a defeat would allow Aberdeen's title hopes to soar.
So Paul Mason will take this. This should open up. Fine header there by Patalainen. An excellent save from Gorham. Andy Gorham looking a little bit perplexed about the way in which Patalainen got to this header. He was free, bulleted that down to the corner. It's great goalkeeping. Chances on through the middle. It's brilliant goalkeeping by Gorham. Scott Booth can't believe that. Richardson with a free kick. McLeish has gone forward, so has Irvin. Patalainen nodding it across. And a great save again from Gorham. Ian Jess holds his head, he can't believe it. Well, Andy Gorham undoubtedly the Rangers' hero in the first half. So a chance for David Robertson perhaps to play this left-footed. There he goes. Straight against the wall. Stevens sends it back in. There's Hateley. It's in. Rangers have scored. It's a sucker blow from Rangers.
I'd hit a patch of form there, but probably I wouldn't equal again. You know, there's a string of 10, 12 games there where everything I did was perfect. And in the game, was a couple of minutes to go to get a free kick, hits the wall, goes back to the boys, hit it through the wall again this time. And I've gone again, it's gone through my hands, hit my backside and stuck on the line. I thought it was in the net, I've just turned around, it's just sat on the line right there. I think that summed it up there. You can make all the saves you want, but you still need a bit of luck.
But Andy's luck was beginning to run out. Serious injury problems arose when he had to have a tendon in his knee replaced, which meant he would be out for 8 months.
I thought my career had finished then. I'd never had an operation, I didn't know what it was all about. And couldn't dress myself. I was in a brace. Couldn't dress myself, couldn't undress myself, couldn't go in the shower. Spent days depressed for days. The doc, he's seen it all before. He does his best to try and get you going and that, but it's a fearsome thing. It's a frightening thing. I've never experienced anything like it. They get a dead man's Achilles apparently and split it in 3 and plait it like hair. They take the ligament out and put that in, the dead man's Achilles. So I'm thinking, I hope this boy's a high jumper or something, be able to get up for crosses a bit better. And at work, touch wood, I never had any more problems with it.
Any football player who has an injury is very, very hard to live with and very hard to control if they are so keen on the game of which they play. And he was a very, at that particular time, and he was very studious in goalkeeping. And obviously it was a big shock to the system that he weren't out there playing. But obviously Andy came back and got fit again and played very, very well.
There's Irvin, that's a good ball in. An excellent goalkeeping by Andy Goran.
Headed away by Brown. Turned by Lambert. This is Tommy Coyne. Onto the left foot. It's Phil O'Donnell. It's a great save by Andy Goran. What a chance there for Phil O'Donnell. It's Cleland. Owen putting it in the far side. And Goran just touching that onto the post.
During that game, misfortune was to strike again. After playing only 8 league matches, Andy was taken off with an injured hip. He was given leave by Walter Smith to go on holiday to Tenerife with his family, hoping he would recover in time for the Cup final. The holiday nearly cost him his Rangers career.
On the last day, we were flying out at 5 o'clock the next morning. So Oldham had just been relegated at the time. Unbeknown to me, they're in Tenerife. And I just hear a shout, "Goalie!" Sure enough, there's the Oldham boys sat. And I said, "See, you go down to the beach, I'll have a couple of drinks with me." I said, "I'll be down in a wee while." So you go through all the old stories again, you having a laugh with all the old boys that you've not seen for a long time. And sure enough, they come flying back up about 5 at night. The family had been on the beach, been with them all day. It's been a great day. So the usual, you go up there and I'll be up in 10 minutes, we'll go something to eat. Sure enough, next thing I remember, I woke up at about 2 o'clock the next afternoon in the hotel. The boy called Mike Milligan, I was in his room, and it was just panic. Oh my God, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, missed a flight. I get a pair of shorts on, a t-shirt, a pair of flip-flops, and 40 quid in my pocket. So now it's real panic. What am I going to do? So, sure enough, I've missed a flight. So I've no idea what's happened now. What am I going to do? So I'd end up having another week there. Again, at the time, it seemed like a good idea at the time. And obviously it wasn't when I came back in and found out the consequences.
The consequences were that Andy was summoned to Walter Smith's office for a meeting.
And he looked at me and said, "I'm putting you on a transfer list." And I looked back at him and he still had this deadpan face. I thought he was going to crack a wee smile in a minute. He's only kidding me on. He said, "I'm putting it on the list." He said, "I'm not putting up with that." And then it really dawned on me that it was serious. That just sent me bombshell one. That was just total devastation.
There was just a lot of things. I just felt like everything else. Sometimes when you have a long run of success as they had in that period of time, everybody needed a reminder that, you know, they had to try and keep themselves right. And we were serious in that one. A lot of people said to me that they only did it for an effect. But If somebody had came along at that time, seriously, we would have done that.
Panic. Not afraid to say it. Tears, the whole bit. 'Cause that was my life. I loved it there. Loved the club. It was a great job. And I abused the situation and got probably what I deserved.
The rest of the team were due to fly to Canada for a closed season tour of supporters' clubs. Andy was keen to go, mainly to escape the Scottish press, but Walter Smith's words of caution were still fresh in his mind.
I remember his last words when we came out of the dressing room. He says, out of the office, he says, look, whatever you do, be discreet, because the press are going to be after you. So that stuck in my mind. Be discreet, be discreet, be discreet, always in my mind. There's 3 white stretch limousines waiting for us outside the airport, full of drink, right, taking us to the hotel. I'm like, be discreet, be discreet. You walk out the airport, see the cars, and you just go, forget it, done in. The gaffer's words just went right out the window, and that was it.
Andy did buckle down and regained his fitness over the summer, and was eventually taken off the transfer list.
Back with McWilliams. Fine effort by McWilliams. It looks as though Andy Gorham got a touch to that, which makes it a magnificent save. The corner kick's been given.
It's Clark who strikes it. That's a marvellous save by Andy Gorham. Superb reflexes by Gorham as David Weir sent in the shot. Superb save.
A newcomer arrived at Ibrox that season, who was to become a hero to thousands of Rangers fans for his skill, flair and tremendous match-winning abilities.
Laudrup, he's got McCoist, he's got Haitley, Weir on the right. He decides to go it alone. Brilliant play by Laudrup! Oh, magnificent goal! A magnificent goal!
Few fans would have predicted that such different personalities as Gorham and Laudrup would form such a close friendship, which would continue even after they left Ibrox.
Perhaps that's the key word to it, because we are very different and we have got perhaps different lifestyles. But one thing we have got in common is we like wine, and that's a good start anyway. And we have had some good times really. And I must say he's the only player I've been in contact with perhaps on a weekly basis or a monthly basis since I left Scotland. So it's good still to keep in touch and go out for a meal once in a while, and we have done that, and hopefully we can keep on doing that. If you know you've got a great goalkeeper behind you, then you've got a lot more confidence, obviously, and the players can go forward and think, okay, if anything happens, we've always got the goalie behind us, and Andy is such a good goalkeeper that the confidence in the team just spreads out from the back to the strikers.
This is Laudrup. Nice first touch from McCoist to Jury. Houster's in the middle. McCoist's arriving. Laudrup's there as well. Still it's Laudrup. Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Laudrup.
Nicknamed the Flying Hippo by his teammates, Andy's appearance can be deceptive, but his presence in the penalty box can be enough to wrong-foot strikers when faced with his abilities.
When you look at him, he doesn't really look as an athlete, to be honest. But I've never seen as good as goalie. I've said before that the two best goalkeepers I've played with were Peter Schmeichel and Andy Gorham. So that puts him, among the best in the world, according to my opinion. And I think he's been excellent. And he's so quick, as I said before, and he's really difficult to beat.
There's no doubt when a forward goes through and he sees a certain goalkeeper, he'll finish with aplomb, no problem. But if they go through and they know that Andy Gorham's there, then they'll say, "Oh, wait a minute, second thoughts about it," and that just may be the thing that throws them off their finishing touch.
McStay picks up the loose ball. Collins to his left. McStay going it alone. It's a great save from Gorham. Superb midfield play from Paul McStay, and Gorham comes to the rescue of Rangers.
Gavin Hoydal Under pressure there from McLaren. McStay picks up the loose ball. Vata free on the right. McStay again. That's for Vata. Good position for Celtic. Now Paul McStay. Figure eight save again from Gorham. McStay can scarcely believe it.
Goalie challenge as well. McStay's there for Celtic. That's good play by McStay. The chance is out for Collins. That's a magnificent save by Andy Gorham.
Rangers went on to win their 7th championship in a row, leaving Celtic trailing by 18 points in 4th place. To Andy, such success was a long way from his beginnings in the game. His father had played in goal for Bury and Hibs, and like all fathers, was a great influence on Andy.
He never pushed me. I think he would have pushed me into football. I'd have probably rebelled and gone the other way. If you're a kid and you get pushed into something, then the natural thing is to rebel against it. You don't want to do it. He was always there if I needed him. And obviously I always want to follow in your father's footsteps, it's an old saying, but it was just the father figure thing that always stuck in my mind. Plus the fact that, you're right, I was rubbish outfield, so I just ended up in goal.
After being signed by Ron Atkinson for West Bromwich Albion at 17, Andy moved on to Oldham. It was at that time he first worked with coach Alan Hodgkinson, but Alan's first impressions of Andy were not what he expected.
I went across and watched this reserve game during the evening, and the game proceeded, and he proceeded to concede 8 goals. And I always remember Joe Royle tapping me on the shoulder and saying that, but he's coming back from injury, Alan, and you know, he's not normally like this, so you'll have to accept that a little bit. And that was the first time I'd ever seen Andy Gorham.
Eventually, their relationship went on to become one of the most successful in coaching, but the early sessions did not run smoothly.
First 2 weeks training with him, I couldn't get a grip of what he was talking about. I couldn't understand his techniques, what he was trying to do, and I'd get frustrated. I dropped the ball, picked it up and belted it down the pitch. And it was a windy day at Oldham, so I ended up 3 million yards away.
I said, Andy, you see that ball you've kicked down the pitch, down there? I said, off you go and go and get it. Walk down there and go and fetch it back. And he looked at me. I said, no. I said, don't walk down. I said, run down there and get the ball back, or off you go back in the dressing room. And off he went, ran and got the ball. And then from then on, it was plain sailing. He got down to work. And at that particular time, he really was a little bit impetuous.
As a kid, you think I am the great I am. You know, you're 17 playing for Oldham's first team. Might not be a big thing to other people now, but at the time you think, yeah, you're the top boy. He made me go and get the ball, and he said, ever do that again, I'll never work with you again. And that was it. Ever since then, we've been together.
In 1987, Andy was signed for Hibs by Alex Miller. Again, he was under pressure as he was the club's biggest ever signing.
My learning process was more or less over then. I thought at the time. Obviously, I never stopped learning. I thought it's a time to really enjoy it, and I've made it now. Obviously, again, naive. At the same time, we did well at the time, to be honest as well. We got into Europe a couple of times, a couple of semi-finals. It was totally different than I used to get. Probably 12, 15, 20 saves a game. If I made a mistake, it didn't matter because I'd pull the team out with the saves I'd made anyway. So it tended to hide up the mistakes. Where at Rangers, it's totally different. You need to make that one save that's required. And if you don't make it, then you ask questions. So it's a totally different ball game that way. But certainly, again, another good upbringing there at Hibs.
By 1995, Rangers had their sights firmly set on 9 in a row. Andy's injury problems were over, and Rangers had just signed another player who was to become a hero to the loyal supporters.
And Hoydock waits in the middle. Good cross though, won easily by McLaren. 2 against 2 up front here. Selenko and McCoy together. That's good play by Selenko. McCoy says Gascoigne racing through the middle. It's great play for Rangers. And Gascoigne has scored! It's a magnificent goal by Gascoigne.
Walter, he must have had nightmares about Gascoigne joining us. That's a good thing at Ibrox, you know, no one ever really got that accolade. If you had a great game on a Saturday, all during the week you get slaughtered off the boys, Durante and Coyce, and people would just bring you back down to level. Likewise, if you had a bad game, they'd lift you up and get you back playing again, you're back confident. But he brought a new dimension to the dressing room and the pitch. We were just looking forward to seeing him play because we all knew he was a great player.
This is Jury coming off his marker well. Alec Dillon on the near side. Mikhailchenko in space. Gascoigne going through, a chance here to score. That's a brilliant finish by Gascoigne.
Once a decade you get talents like that. And one boy that could change a game for us, no doubt. And I still believe, whether Walter and the chairman agrees with me or not, doesn't matter because it's my video and I can say it. I think when Gascoigne went for 8 games to go, that cost us the league and the cup double. I think we'd have won the double that year if Gascoigne hadn't gone, because we certainly missed him the last 8 games, and it was sorry Gaffer and Mr. Chairman, but I think we would have kept him for the 8 games. Would have been okay.
Andy's own form was outstanding that season. Once again, he proved his worth against his closest rivals.
There's Van Hooydonk. Great save by Gorham. A brilliant free kick that by Van Hooydonk, swerving in the far corner. And Gorham here at full stretch to get to that. Corner kick will be taken by Donnelly. Gorham again coming to punch this time.
Winning the championship for 8 and 9 was the games that we had to beat Celtic, and in every game he played in he was outstanding. And if you look at 4 times 12 points, he won his 10 of them. He got his 10 of those points without a doubt.
A chance though for Celtic. Andreas Tom, Rudi Vata has scored against Rangers from a free kick at the end of the last season, and John Collins makes a habit of it. He's over the ball. There's Collins. Magnificent save from Gorham.
He hates getting beat. He's like me. He hates getting beaten training, and if you put one past him, give him a stick, he loses his head and he goes off it. Just having him behind you, he's a leader from behind. He doesn't have to be captain, but he's our captain at the back, behind the back, and he's just solid.
It's Woodthorpe who gets it away now for Dodge to chase it. Drops in behind. Goff is under pressure here. Still it's Dodge playing it through, trying to find Booth, but overheading it. And now it's Robertson stepping in for Rangers. There was a real chance here for Aberdeen to do something. And Goff had let the ball drop in behind them, and now it's McLaren making a mistake. And this is Scott Booth, and Dodge is in the middle. And well taken by Andy Gorham, it had to be. But again, self-inflicted wounds by Rangers, giving the ball away. Scott Booth pounced. Dodge was in the middle, and Gorham reacted well. Still it's Heatherson, leaving it now to little Joe Miller, who does well. He gets a bit of space here. It's back for Dodge, and it's Petric who got his foot to the ball, and then Robertson cleared it high near. It's still not properly cleared, and then comes Glass, and Stephen Glass's header goes right into the arms of Andy Gorham, who's not at all happy with his defence. Still the danger wasn't cleared, and Glass was given an opportunity. He's waiting for this free kick, and it's there by Rangers, and it's Craig Moore who scores.
They're mental. They are mental for a start. Never going to have a chance with a goalkeeper, especially Andy Gorham, because you always come off worse. But they've got to be more mentally and physically prepared for a game. I can make a mistake, but I've got another 9 players to help us out from that. Andy cannot. As a keeper, you cannot make a mistake, full stop.
That consistency was never more evident than in one of the most memorable Old Firm clashes in recent years. In a game balanced on a knife edge, Andy was simply breathtaking.
Possession again. That's good play by Simon Donnelly, stepping away from David Robertson. Infield now to McStay. Donnelly keeps his run going. Still it's Donnelly. Back to McStay. Good play by Celtic. Van Hooydonk, and it's Andreas Tom. Touch from Richard Goff. This is Gascoigne. Still it's Gascoigne forcing it through. Chance on here for Laudrup. It's a great goal by Laudrup. Rangers 1, Celtic 1. Again, there's a fair bit of movement the far side of the box. Gascoigne strikes it in, and it's there. wide of the cross, and McCoy with yet another header.
With the score standing at 2-2, Celtic turned up the pressure. Only the goalie stood between them and victory.
Played off by Tom, it's Collins again. Good play by Collins. Tom, a nice change of direction, challenged by Goff. This is Tosh McKinlay, that's a great cross. What an incredible save by Andy Gorham from Van Hooydonk. Well, it's Tom, getting in a good cross. In comes Tosh McKinlay, another big gap opens up and Gorham's there again.
The tie ended 3-3, but once again, Andy's performance had arguably saved the match for Rangers.
Well, I played with Andy as well. I had a spell at Oldham when Andy was there. He saved the only penalty I've ever missed in my career, which was for Man City. In my opinion, Andy Gorham's the best goalkeeper I've ever seen, and I was quite open saying that. And I've picked in occasions my best team over the last 25 years since I started playing, and Gorham's definitely in it. I've never seen a better all-round goalkeeper than he is.
I think if you just take the Old Firm matches, the points he saved against. In fact, I think Tommy Burns is at Reading because he had Andy Gorham. So when you think of the situation that's happened there, just even with the Old Firm matches, yeah, he'd definitely be responsible for 10 or 15 points.
He doesn't look a threat. He's one of them. If you've seen him walking up the street in the supermarkets, you think, nah, he's a world-class keeper. You think, how can he move? And the saves he was making, bottom left-hand side, the right side, top corner, he's very fast, very mobile, and like I said, he was an amazing keeper when I was there. I wouldn't play on many better keepers than that.
Gorham has the save right on the line from Van Hooydonk. O'Donnell goes for glory himself, touched onto the post. I want to save again from Andy Gorham.
Due to such high standards from Andy and the team, Rangers once again had defeated the Celtic challenge. However, their ancient rivals were determined to stop Rangers from equalling their 9-in-a-row record.
They were the only team that was going to stop it. There's no other team going to beat us in the league. I don't mean beat us in the game, I meant to win the league. So it was in their hands. That was always the incentive, because it was Celtic as well. They were the one team that could stop us, and they couldn't.
Asking a lot there of McNamara, but Cleland is very quick indeed. That's good play by McNamara, making something out of very little. Here's Veekhorst. That's a good save by Gorham. Gascoigne might punish them now on the counter-attack. Celtic are filling the back. Laudrup wide for Alberts. There's Gascoigne! It reaches Di Canio, chance on here. Still Di Canio! And Gorham makes the save. Oh, it's brilliant play by Gorham.
The next Old Firm encounter was to be the most remarkable match that many fans can remember. Andy was coming back from injury to face a Celtic side who were top of the league. Only a victory would be acceptable to the Rangers fans.
Well, that was a crazy game because I was already sent off. I was up in the stand that night, and no, it was just an unbelievable game, and the whole thing just went from end to end. Our players, for a spell in the game, tried to play offside for some strange reason, started to push up and try and play offside, which is obviously criminal against like the Gascoigne and Laudrup. We can lift our head and see what's happening. Van Vossen had the miss, and I was sitting right behind Walter Smith in the dugout that night, and you could just see White Tull and Rangers looking up into the stand and just couldn't believe what had happened.
It's Celtic to challenge Gorham through Van Hooydonk. Doesn't really seem to be disguising his intentions. And Gorham got to it with outstretched arms and strong fists.
I mean, many a game I sat and watched at Parkhead or Ibrox, and I felt for Tommy Burns at the time. I must admit, I mean, I'm sure there were people that you actually went, oh, you know, I can't believe he's done that again. And I remember one game in particular, And Andy had save after save, and these two guys in front of us, you know, and they were everything blinding about how he could possibly do this again to them. It was as if it was something personal, you know, this guy was doing this to these guys, you know, and the look in their faces was, you know, it's so hard not to laugh when you're there, but you've just got to say, fine, you know, and carry on with it. But there was, as we've said, it was unbelievable against Celtic.
Grant. Donnelly. Lining up in the centre, well played by Gorham, not once but twice.
I think it was a difference in vital games, you know, for us, where had we won maybe 1-0 Firm game in over a 2-year period, we'd have won the league. And Andy Gorham made some unbelievable saves that defy description.
Tom going ahead of Tom Boyd. Here he is, Andreas Tom. Goff backpedaling, Tom's past him, and Andy Gorham has made the right goalkeeping decision yet again. McInnes. Here's Cleland. Gascoigne took that beautifully. The pass for Laudrup. Kerr comes off his line. Penalty.
The most thing I relied on Andy most was I missed a penalty at Celtic. And going up to that penalty, I was miles away and I missed it.
20 minutes to go. Gascoigne steps up. And Kerr has saved a Paul Gascoigne penalty. Well, we expected a monumental match and we've certainly had one. And this is Peter Grant for Celtic. Cadet. Donnelly. And Celtic have got a penalty.
I was just like numb and I just played the game. And when they got the penalty, I was like shaking inside and thinking, oh, you know, big games, these are the biggest games in Scotland. And then all that was left was for me to rely on Andy. He was the only one on the pitch could have saved me.
They said when I got into Rangers, you're going to play against Celtic one day, and you 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go in a big game, and they get a penalty, and you save it. You'd be like that. You'd forfeit a month's wages for it. You'd do anything to do that, to be in that situation where you could stop them from scoring and you win the game for Rangers in the biggest game in the world.
So, Gascoigne's already had his penalty saved for Rangers. It's Pierre Van Hooijdonk to keep his nerve for Celtic and keep them top of the table. And Gorham has matched Kerr's achievement.
That's probably as good as it gets. There's not much better than that. It's not often I get animated that way. But I think with the whole importance of the game, and I suppose it's like scoring the win in the last minute. You know, that's my bit of glory, and I enjoyed it, and it lived me forever.
The difference between us winning the league or winning Old Firm games in many occasions was the fact that Andy Gorham made great saves for us that he really shouldn't have been able to make. So from that point of view, it broke my heart because it was so frustrating for us because we get so close, only to be foiled with somebody's fingertips. But no, I never really broke my heart. But in the football sense, it did.
When he made the save the penalty, honestly, it lumped me through tears, and I just wanted to go and hug him for the rest of the game. But obviously, we had to wait till the game finished, and we had a drink in them days for me anyway on it, and it was fantastic.
To escape from the pressures of top-class football, Andy lives in Largs, where he enjoys a simpler lifestyle from that normally associated with a football legend.
No.
This is a place to come down. I've stayed down here for 2 years now. It's a place I can get away from it all and relax and listen to these idiots having a go at me. One to my list, Joe Harper used to play at Aberdeen about 25 years ago. Currently my mind in Largs. Penny Hassel, he's a boy. Jimmy 5 Billies, Gaz's pal. Well, this is wee Andy 10 Billies. Anything needs doing, we need any bookies lines or anything, the wee man's there to do it. Unfortunately, I lost my licence a couple of years ago. I turned to this man. If this man ever writes a book, tell him. The young chap that drives about all the time for us, picks us up when we need him the most. If he ever writes a book, bestseller. It's this one. Don't know what he's doing in Largs. Currently owns the Loudon, unofficially. Rangers #1 fan, Toby. And Walt's a resident Blue Nose. The chef in here is actually a Celtic fan. We just got beat 5-1 last week. And we just had something to eat, and it was absolutely rotten. I don't know what he's done to it. I think he's done something to it. But he's disappeared now, so he's all right. We're going to get him after.
We've sort of known each other for quite a while, but it was really when he came down to Largs. I moved into Largs about 5 years ago, and Andy came down to stay, and we started going out and playing golf, and just really started mucking about together. We'd always come in here and watch the football. I would go for a meal in the house and watch football there, and he's a great guy. He's a good guy, you know. And I think one of the most important things, as far as I'm concerned, is I can slap him every now and again. He deserves a slap now and again. But one of the good things is he's one of the boys. You know, he is really one of the guys. He doesn't put any airs and graces on, and a lot of people don't appreciate the things that he does charity-wise as well. And yet, you know, we got a lot of stick about him, about, you know, what he does off the park, and it's a load of rubbish as far as we're concerned. We know that 90% of it's a load of rubbish, but certainly his ability is unanswered.
I'm happy with 90%. We were in the pub months ago, and there's a pest of a girl and trying to get into the company all the time. We don't want anything to do with him. The boys began to get a bit paranoid. This is in Largs. He's in trying to get in the company. I says, here. I said, how do you fancy a couple of days in the sun? She said, where are you going to take me? I said, no, page 1, 3 and 5. Get out.
Back in the pitch, Rangers continued to power on relentlessly towards their target of 9 in a row.
And the Celtics wall is 5 strong. But Albert gets it through! The hammer has torn Celtic apart. Tim McCluskey getting the wall back. Well, tonight's thrill started with a superb Rangers free kick. Van Hooijdonk. Oh! Coming up with a splendid effort of his own, and flying through the air again was the man in white.
Yeah, it's a lovely free kick. Pace and bend, and yet again, when Gorham's required, Gorham's there.
Well, Rangers have done it again.
The long fight to win the championship and clinch the 9th title ended at Tannadice in May. It was a milestone in Rangers history, but Andy was injured and missed the match.
Miller's cross is a good one, that hits Laudrup! It's a classic from Laudrup!
I was actually in Belfast. I listened to it on the radio. Just wanted to get away. You don't feel part of it. Although you'd done your bit in earlier games, you just don't feel part of it. And it was my decision. That was one regret I had at Rangers, that I never stayed for that. But again, you made a decision to stand by that. And at the time I thought it was the right thing to do. But still, I didn't take the shine off of celebrating that one. It was a great achievement for the boys. It was a fantastic thing. Fantastic thing.
Andy's final season at Ibrox had seen the club undergo many changes. Walter Smith announced that he would leave at the end of the season, and more foreign players were recruited. But Andy had lost none of his passion for the club.
Ten setting himself. Well, for all the years that Rangers have played Celtic and all the importance, there can't have been too many better goals than that.
However, at the end of the season, Andy realised he would be leaving Ibrox for the last time, along with many others who were Ibrox greats.
There was 5 or 6 who knew we were away, and I think the other boys felt, I'm not even going to name them, people who knew they are. Boys, like I said, they never cried in front of their families before, probably. Hard boys, I'm talking about boys that could, you know, the emotions aren't easily come by with these lot. Bubbling, not even like a wee tea, like bubbling. And it was stuck in my mind forever. We're all just stood in the reception, 5 of us all together. And it was a wee huddle there, it was like a wee huddle. We were all, terrible, terrible night. And I hit home that night that we weren't going to come back in and go up the tunnel.
Copenhagen, home of Copenhagen FC, where Andy hopes to continue his remarkable career, following in the footsteps of Brian Laudrup he travelled to Denmark for a training session and to discuss a possible signing deal.
What do you do for profession?
Unemployed at the moment. Hopefully by tomorrow I'll be employed.
Despite the temptation of such a cosmopolitan city, Andy and his associate Jim Fox renounced the bright lights for more cultured entertainments.
I've just been in the shops, I've just done a bit of shopping, and I've just found 2 old friends of mine. I think they'll know who they are when you come in. Walter Smith and Archie Knox. Now this is from when we played Lingby. They made 2 statues of them both because we did so well. So that's the first time I've seen Walter and Archie for a long time. Get out. This is me now, no apprentice. I've got to list my own boots up. It's 30 degrees below out there. Not looking forward to it. Be nice to see Brian again after this time, like I said. I just want to get out and start playing again. Ice. Training pitch. Ice. Game off. Training cancelled. Time's this. I'll get fined for being late,
After the reunion was over, it was down to business, when Andy trained with Michael Steenskaard, who had just signed for Southampton. Inspecting Andy was Danish goalkeeping coach Ollie Quist. Although he hadn't trained for 3 weeks, Andy showed that he had lost none of his ability despite the freezing temperatures.
It's okay. It's the first thing I've done for 3 weeks, so. But
Different coaching methods.
yeah, not different to what I'm used to, but it's all part of learning. You can put everything together. Well, I didn't know I was coming to Iceland. I thought I was coming to Denmark.
Due to the weather conditions, Andy had to train on unfamiliar surfaces with the Copenhagen team, but that didn't hinder his performance.
It's probably the coldest I've ever been on a pitch, apart from we played CSKA Moscow in Bochum. And we've got a goalkeeping coach that's obviously done different things than I'm used to. I thought it was Colin Jackson at one point there, jumping over the hurdles. But it's different, I've enjoyed it, and hopefully done enough to try and give him a good impression.
Although no contracts have been signed, in January, when the Danish clubs start training after the winter break, Andy will join them for pre-season training. Clearly, Andy's career is far from over, and no matter where his outstanding talent lead him, he will always be remembered by the loyal Rangers fans, not only as a legend, but simply as the goalie.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.